How many times have you asked yourselves, where do I start? How do I continue? Where do I finish? And how many times have you judged your art too harshly and stopped drawing or painting halfway through because you thought you were not good enough? There are a lot of things that beginner artists, and to be honest, everybody is afraid of and stop their artistic growth and creativity. And today I wanted to talk about 5 main fears of artists in general and how to overcome them. And the reason for this video is because I've gone through the same process a lot of months ago, and sometimes I still have these fears and I still start painting and I stop halfway through, and I really think that this is trash. So I hope that this video helps a lot of you out there, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. So we are going to be talking about 5 fears today, 5 problems and how you can solve them. And I will be talking about it while drawing these out. So if you want to paint with me, just grab a paper and a watercolor set and let's get into this. So the first thing that everybody is afraid of is starting without following a tutorial, especially if you're a beginner artist. And this fear leads to 2 main problems. The first is not knowing what to draw. So let's see how we can solve that. First of all, there are a lot of websites these days with really good references. So I would really suggest spending time Googling and researching online for inspiration. You don't need to have a specific idea in mind. You can just go to a website, for example, Pixabay, and scroll down. And as soon as you see something that you really like, you can choose it and you can start drawing. Or you can also go out. If you are a photographer, for example, and you like taking pictures, you can go out and let the environment inspire you. So as soon as you see a really nice sunset, you take a picture and then you can modify later and draw it or paint it and so on. So the best way to know what to draw is actually not just think about it yourself, but let the environment help you, let the internet help you, and so on. The second problem that it is related to being afraid of starting without following a tutorial is how to start. So once you've got your reference, and many people ask themselves, how do I start? What are the layers that I should be doing? And so on. So I would suggest to solve this problem to really play and study your reference photo properly. And how do you do that? Nowadays, almost everybody has a computer, so you can download the reference photo that you've chosen into your computer, and you can, for example, lower the contrast, or play with the luminance, play with the highlights, play with the shadows, so that you see how you can modify it, where the dark values are, where the highlights are. And also, if you lower the contrast, for example, you can see better the shapes and the outline of what you want to draw. Something else that you can do when playing with your reference photo is, for example, changing the hues and saturation in order to add some different colors to your reference. Or you can also open it up in paint and literally paint the background in a way, or change it. Anyway, you have to remember that your artistic process does not start when you sketch and then you paint. It starts beforehand. It starts with choosing the subject, with thinking about the composition and so on. So really make sure that you choose a good reference photo and you have a clear plan and a clear idea of what you want to paint. The third problem is where to start where to start drawing and painting. Now, the solution for this is really when you, especially you're using watercolor, so I'll be talking mainly about watercolors since I am painting this owl, is to do a sort of underpainting with, in my case, Aquarelle or watercolor pencils. And the reason for this is because pencils can still be erased and you get really comfortable with your reference forms and shapes, and you can art the dark values, and you know, if you make a mistake, it's not, you can easily erase it and go back at it. And the underpainting is a valuable thing to do, even if, for example, you're using colored pencils, because in this way you get rid of the grains of the paper already, and you can add the first layers and without thinking too much about the final product and so on. So it is really good to do an underpainting no matter what media you're using. The fourth problem that you might be having is you don't know how to continue. So you've got your sketch and everything seems good, you've done your underpainting, but then you don't know how to continue. Now, this problem is easily fixable if you've studied your reference accurately at the beginning, because if you've done so, you already know the different hues, saturation, values, and so on. But if you still have problems, then really let the inspiration drive you. So keep looking at the reference, but at the same time, do not be too meticulous and too perfectionist, because at the beginning, your drawings and paintings will not look exactly like your reference, but that is good because they have your print on it and they are yours. You're not just copying a reference photo, but you're making it yours. So just try to build your painting or drawing in colored pencils in layers, and whenever you realize that you're tired and you really think and you're thinking, oh, I just want to finish, then stop. I always have this sign as to tell me when to stop drawing and painting, because whenever I think, oh gosh, I'm done, I cannot take it anymore, then I stop and I go back at it the day after or after a few hours. And now we come to the last thing that most beginners are afraid of, which is where to stop. And the reason for this is because we don't know, of course, how closely we want to replicate the reference photo, or also we don't know how to add, for example, the final details, or how to really finish it. And this last point is quite tough, and there is not a simple answer to it. But my advice to you is that when you think for the first time, so when for the first time you think I'm nearly done, and not because, oh, you're tired, I just want to finish. No, when you really think I'm nearly done after looking at your painting, then add one more layer and stop. In this way, when you go back at it, for example, the next day or after a couple of hours, you can be true to yourself and you can really tell if you are done. So you can really tell if what you see is the final product, or if you need to add a few things. And this helps because when you are so into the drawing and the painting, even if you keep looking at the reference photo, you don't see what you're missing, and you don't see your small mistakes or things that need improving. Whereas if you stop and you take a step back and then you go back at it, then it is easier to see the things, for example, that your painting is missing. And I find this tip quite useful, because every time that I think it is finished, I add one more layer, then I stop, I go back at it the next day, and I think, oh, actually I probably should darken up the areas around the eyes, or I haven't painted the eyes realistically, so I should probably use some colored pencils to make it pop, or this area is too dark, I need to brighten it up, so I use white wash or a white acrylic, or for example I've missed some small details, and I go back with a fine liner. So I think this is the last tip that I can give you. So all these 5 problems are quite easy to fix, and I hope that I've given you enough tips to solve them. And the most important thing is you paint and you draw because you like it, because you love it, because when you draw you're in a different world, you're relaxing, and you should keep that in mind. Of course, improving is something that everybody is going for, and you know, you want to be able to be an amazing artist and so on, but you're already an amazing artist because you've decided to take up your passion and really do something with it. So just remember this, and then with time everything will come. So this is it for this tutorial. I also hope that you enjoyed seeing me painting this owl. And again, if you do, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And also check out my social media, my Instagram and my TikTok. The link is in the description box below, together with all the materials that I've been using for this tutorial. And also check out my art blog, where I post about art and about what I feel and about artists time to time. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.